Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the debut episode 1 of the Craftavore Tastes. I'm your host Max. I wanted to caveat this video by saying this is probably the longest video that you're ever going to see on this channel or ever see me do. I'm going to try to keep them super digestible, 3.5 minutes. I know not everybody has all the time in the world to watch beer reviews, but wanted to make this video a little bit longer because not only are we obviously going to dive into our first review, beer actually that we're going to be doing today is Singlecut's Cold Fire Double IPA. But also the reason why is because I wanted to kind of create, for this first video out, just kind of like an extended version of the welcome video that you see when you first land to the channel. And the point of that is just to kind of tell you, a little bit of my background, who I am, where I'm from, why I'm doing this channel. And then the second part is to just kind of talk a little bit about kind of the future of the channel and where I want to take it and what you can expect to see. So hopefully it's something that you hear that interests you and you keep on coming back to watch more and more videos. So as I was saying, my name is Max, long-time craft beer drinker, long-time craft beer fan. I got started in the industry, or at least this hobby, number of years ago by a couple of good friends of mine who were early on adopters and homebrewers, and got me involved, by taking me to Beer Advocates Extreme Beer Fest, the first time they ever had the Extreme Beer Fest back in 2004. So I've been around, within the hobby and kind of seen how the beer industry and the craft beer industry itself has evolved and it's kind of changed. And so basically what I was hoping to do was, create this channel so I could finally, get my foot in the door in terms of doing beer reviews on YouTube. I have a little bit of background. I actually did write for a period of time back in 2014 for a couple of different sites and did some craft beer reviews and some craft beer stories and some some brewery kind of visits and things of that nature. But then I went and had a child, and so finding the time to be able to crank out 2,500 to 5,000 words is a little bit hard to come by these days and a little bit more difficult. So at the same time, again, I'm a fan, and so I was watching guys on YouTube like Chris from Beer Geek Nation, Joe from Joe's Arcade, who's another favorite, Darwin from Darwin's Beer Reviews, and even Peter, Master of Hoppets, who is amazing. Big shout out to that guy. That guy gets better U.S. beers in Copenhagen than I do here, in the New York metro area. So anyway, that's a good segue. I'm based in the New York metro area. I grew up in New York, but I actually live in northern New Jersey now. So a lot of the breweries and a lot of the beers that you are going to be seeing are going to be a little bit more Northeast centric. But I am going to break out, from that, because really the purpose is wanted to be able to showcase all different types of beers, right? It's not just going to be, these kind of canned releases, one-off hazy IPAs that are all the rage these days. There's going to be plenty of those. But, I want to move beyond that too and just kind of get into more accessible shelf beers, right? I don't see a tremendous amount of reviews of some old classics. I think there's a lot of guys out there that kind of do pull them out every now and then, and they're equally as fun, to kind of watch them and see what their takes are on all those beers that have been around for a number of years, but maybe your palate has changed. So that's basically the idea behind the channel. I hope you enjoy it. And then last but certainly not least, before we dive into this beer review, the Craftavore, what does that mean? I'm sure people are kind of wondering, like, everybody has kind of channels, and by and large they're pretty specific. They are what they are, right? Craftavore, what does that even mean? Well, long story short, when I started doing my craft beer writing for a couple of different sites, I kind of created a moniker called the Craftavore. We can call it branding if you wanted to. It was just a way for me to kind of get my name out there. And, it was a mix-up between, or a mashup of, craft or craft beer and locavore. So there we go. We, meld the two together and you have Craftavore. So anyway, got a Twitter feed or whatever it may be. It doesn't have the most followers in the world, but there are some people that I thought that, maybe read my pieces a couple of years ago would be interested in seeing this channel. So I'm keeping, the name just for consistency's sake. So yeah, there's that. Last but certainly not least, you could probably tell by the quality of this video, We're pretty bare bones at the moment. But at some point, I'm sure I'll probably get, a better camera, some better audio, maybe even some better lighting or whatever it may be. But for now, it's really all about diving into these beers and just having fun. So I hope you keep on coming back to the channel. And with that said, let's go ahead there and dive into our first review. So, as I said, today's beer is Singlecut's Cold Fire Double IPA. So, this is actually a new release from them, canned on 1/2, so it is the 15th of January, so super fresh. Apparently, Cold Fire is Weird and Gilly's big brother. So if anybody's had Weird and Gilly out there, it's been a number of months since I had it, so this is going to kind of be, diving into pretty much something new. I don't remember it very much, so I'm interested to see the double version of Weird and Gilly. So let's go ahead, let's crack into this guy. Get this into a glass. We'll give it on our appearance, aroma, and then finally the taste. And then last but certainly not least, we'll go ahead and give it a rating. Pretty much what I'm going to do as it relates to a rating is I'm going to basically use the cap system that is used on Untappd. Untappd is pretty ubiquitous nowadays for craft beer drinkers, so I'm sure pretty much everybody will be pretty used to it, right? Anywhere from 0 caps to 5, right? 0 being the absolute pits and the worst, and 5 being absolutely amazing, hunnets, etc., etc., etc. All right, so Cold Fire Double IPA. Beer pours a really, really nice medium to medium gold color. You got definitely a haze on there, as to be expected from Singlecut. They kind of moved over into that kind of hazy, New England style IPAs game a couple of years ago, but not like super, super OJ, right? Like there's still just a little bit of amount that you can kind of see there. So not kind of full on super turbid, but looks really beautiful. Got a little bit of alcohol lacing there as well, given the fact that it's a double. So let's just stick our nose in it really quickly and get an aroma on it. Oh, yeah, that double dry hop comes out right out of the gate. So first thing that I'm getting is I get a little bit of that sweetness. Obviously, with the higher ABV, it's 8.2% ABV. It's a double, so I'm going to get a little bit of that sweetness from those malts. Tremendous amount of mango, pineapple, stone fruits, citrus fruits. Yeah, really, really aromatic. Coming through the glass, really pungent, but has a little bit of that backbone and that sweetness there as well. Smells incredibly inviting. Yeah, let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers. Absolutely. So right on the taste, right at the front of the tongue, actually getting a tremendous amount of pineapple, a lot of guava, a lot of mango coming through. Sticky, kind of resiny, kind of hop flavors that's kind of coating the mouth a little bit. What that double dry hopping, when a brewery knows how to do it really, really well, what ends up happening is that entire kind of hop aroma is just going to just, overtake your entire palate, right? You're tasting it. You're getting it a little bit on the back end. It's kind of engulfing a bit of your nose. It's going up a bit into your sinuses. Really, really well done. I'm going to dive in for another sip. Yeah, really, really well done. Less chewy than I would imagine it would be. Mouthfeel is really spot on. It's kind of right where it needs to be. Oftentimes you'll just get a lot of these, New England style IPAs where they get like, super, super chewy on the mouthfeel. I like that as well in due time, but I mean, at the same time, this is just a little bit lighter. You get a little bit of lingering bitterness right at the midpoint of the palate, but it dissipates really, really quickly. So, obviously going to kind of stick with the style, right? No lingering bitterness. I'm not exactly sure what hops are being used here. Again, it's real pineapple, mango, stone fruit, guava kind of forward. Really, really well done beer. Yeah, I mean, excellent. I've had a bunch of single cuts beers. That's probably one of the best that I've had. It just kind of hits all on the notes for me. That double dry hopping is really, really, really coming forward. It's super, super aggressive in both just an aroma and taste perspective. Not aggressive on the palate at all. I mean, you get a little bit of that bitterness that kind of sits in the middle of the tongue. But outside of that, it's enough to kind of obviously tell you it's an IPA. I kind of like a little bit of that punch, right? With a lot of the kind of New England style IPAs, it's definitely, more fruit juice. And not to say that this isn't, lends a little bit towards that style, but at the same time, it kind of holds on a little bit of what an IPA is supposed to be. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and rate this guy. I'm going to give this beer, I'm going to go ahead and get it 4.5 caps. This is really, really, really good. This is one of the best single cup beers I've had in a long time, if not one of the best single cup beers I've ever had. So with that said, 4.5 caps from the Craftavore Tastes. Hope you guys come back and check out a couple of more videos. So with that said, hope to see you again. Cheers.